How could anyone possibly protest a march for men? Let's have a look. Hello everyone and welcome to this episode of Heiser Says. Today I'd like to do a quick shout out for the March for Men that's happening at Federation Square in Melbourne this Saturday. Now, because I'm in Brisbane, I can't attend, but I'd encourage you, if you live in Melbourne and you believe in men's issues, or you want to help draw attention to these issues, particularly because our media feels that it's appropriate to blame all men for the act of one crazy nutcase, or our politicians to blame all men for the act of one crazy nutcase. So perhaps this is the first time you'd like to go and show your support. You'd like to go and march. It's something I encourage you to do. You know, all it takes is walking up the street, and it's just about numbers. It's about getting exposure and showing the politicians and showing these nutters, that just professional advocates, to be honest, that normal people have had enough of the dialogue. Now, this was started by Sydney Watson and Avi Levine down in Melbourne, and there is a counter-protest plan for this. There's a counter-protest. Now, what are they doing? You know, they're going to have speakers discussing men's issues. I thought we'd just have a look at the Facebook page, and I'll link to it in the description here for you. And, you know, for Men and Boys Now Lives, March for Men, Saturday, 25th of August, 2018, you know, 1 to 4 p.m. Fed Square. Let's stand together, appreciation for the men and boys in our lives, and celebrate the value of masculinity in our society. Fantastic, and it's supported by Bloke's Advice. This is a great idea. The suicide rate for men is very high. Workplace deaths for men are very high. Bilateral intimate partner violence is not really given any highlight in the media. The fact that men are largely victims of it. It's starting to happen. A Current Affair did a piece on it recently. But there's all these things that men really aren't expected to, or you have to be a bit stoic and deal with it. You know, that's why the Men's Sheds are such a good program. And so this is an interesting idea. You know, it's a great idea here. People are talking about it. Growing anti-male bigotry spearheaded by feminist groups must be opposed. If not now, when? Will we wait until feminists are so powerful and men are so marginalized that there's nothing we can do? The best time to do something is now. So yeah, Paul, right on, mate. Great comment. You find that there's a counter movement happening as well online, which is, you know, MGTOW, the men going their own way, where men are essentially going into monk mode, some of them, or removing themselves from even the idea of having a traditional relationship. They just use women and cast them aside. Some of them won't even have any relationships with women. Some of them will essentially avoid participating in the economy at all and retreating to another, you know, stepping away. That's terrible if that happens. And our civilization's kind of screwed. So you can see here, you know, they've got a range of speakers, and let's have a look at some of the posts. They've got shirts that you can buy that donate. So yeah, I'm not going to go through all of this. What I thought I would look at is the counter protest. We'll have a look at the organization that's Stand Up for Equality. Counter protest, the far right March for Men. Okay, and this is by the same, it's hosted by Campaign Against Racism and Fascism. The same nutters, 3 others, you know, Books Not Bombs, NUS Women's Department, the National Units of Student LGBTI. And look at the image that they're portraying here. A proud black woman standing in defiance of a bunch of white men, all dressed up kind of like Mormons with, you know, beards and you know, bald heads. Just the image. And you'll go through here where the comments. So they are attacking Sydney Watson personally. I'm not seeing anything in what they're proposing that goes against the narrative that, nope, that should be turned off, ignore that. I'm not seeing anything in their arguments that goes against the narrative that the March for Men is trying to gain attention for. You know, they're not saying anything about the issues of male suicide. They're not trying to counter this. They're attacking the people personally. You know, it's the standard stuff here. Oh, the abusers who attack their partners and then play victims. Yeah, okay. The problem is what happened recently with the Dr. Van Meter talk, and I posted some things about UWA, and I got into a few Facebook arguments. And there's one gentleman who also is a contact on LinkedIn, and he shared a link to something that would refute everything that Dr. Van Meter was saying. And this is a piece from a radio station as a podcast where they were looking into the genetics of the XY chromosome. And apparently this was meant to refute everything Dr. Van Meter said. So I listened to it. It was a good 40 minutes. I like listening to these things. I want to get both sides. And it didn't refute it at all. If anything, it strengthened his argument for his criticisms of early treatments of transgender people at Johns Hopkins. If anything, it added more weight to his position. Now, I came back to this guy going, well, I've listened to this. I'd like to get your opinion on his speech. Listen to it. It's not some rambling nutcase. But he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't give them the light of day. And I said, well, then you're a bigot and you're an ideologue. And I find that a lot of people that want to block a protest, a march, to raise awareness of men's issues, which are a big problem in our society now, are bigots and ideologues. And we need to stand up to them. Because if this group, if they get power, if they get any serious power in a political level, then it's not going to end well. We all know that. So guys, I thought I would just do a quick shout out. I will put a link to this event, the Facebook group, in the description. I'm sorry I can't make it. I'll give you my support. If you have a social media presence, please help magnify or project this any way you can. You know, even share it with your family members, share it with friends, discuss it at work, because everyone has a man in their life. You know, everyone has a father or a husband or a boyfriend or a lover. You know, we all work together for each other. Normal people aren't as nuts as this lot. Okay, these are radicals. These are doing it for the hell of it and for entertainment. Normal people are worried about these issues. So guys, thank you all very much for joining me for this quick episode. I'll be interested to see how the event goes. Full support. Good luck, Sydney. You're going to cop it from the lefties, but I'm sure you're used to it. And I will see you all again next time. Bye for now.